In front of me is the STIHL TSA300 battery-powered professional disc cutter, and STIHL state that it can do just as much as the STIHL TS410 petrol disc cutter, which is probably the most popular disc cutter in the world. So today we're going to put it through its paces, see what it can do, and see if it's right for you. So let's crack on. So first of all, let's look at similarities to see how these two machines are the same, and then we'll look at the differences. So they're both 12-inch 300mm cut-off saws, both have water connections for dust suppression, and both have very similar belt cover designs. Now, one other thing they have kept the same as the 410 is how you change the blade. Now I'm going to show you something that you might not even know is there, and that is a little hole on the belt side cover to be able to lock your blade in to be able to undo it. So you can push the little pole in, and then you can lock your blade in to be able to undo. And they kept the exact same design on the 300. So you can pop that in there, turn that round until it locks in, and then you can undo and replace your blade. Perfect design, works really, really well. Some people might say you can just hold the blade, but we all know when it gets to that point where it's too tight and you can't undo it. Simple as that. Right, let's bang this blade on, make sure it's in the right direction. Torque setting, FT. And that is where they pretty much end. And I think the biggest difference between the two machines is that the 410 has more of a top handle design, whereas the 300 has a back handle design, more designed like a chainsaw. Will that offer better balance? We'll find out. And if you're watching this video, you've probably used a TS410 yourself before, and you'll know if you're using it for long periods of time, you'll know how heavy it gets. So I've got some weights here. So let's see how heavy this one is and how heavy that one is with the battery in it. So that weighs there. The TS410 comes in at 10.8 kilos. You might say it's 10.7 because it's got a bit of dirt on it, whereas obviously this one's clean. So that's 10.8, and the TSA300 comes in at 9.3. So you could say it's a kilo lighter with the AP500 battery. If you had the AP200 or 300, it would be lighter again. So I'll get onto some more detailed specs shortly. But as I said, it is a 12-inch 300mm cut disc cutter. It has an EC 2.5 kilowatt motor in it. It runs on the AP battery system. So if you already run the STIHL AP batteries, these fit exactly in there. Now, you can run it on a AP200 battery, you can run it on an AP300 battery, but the AP500 battery gives you full power, whereas the others only give you a certain percentage of the power that is available. So we recommend using the AP500 battery in it. We'll talk about run times later because we're going to cut some tarmac, and that'll be a real true test to see how long these batteries last. Now, the AP system runs on a 36 volt system. You can have 2 batteries, 3 batteries, 4 batteries, however many batteries you need to get through the day, or you can have obviously on-site charging solutions. Now, the cut depth of this saw is 110 millimeters. Now, being 110 millimeters, will it cut through a 4-inch block? So we're also going to do that to see if you can cut through it without leaving that annoying little edge at the end. It's also IPX4 weather rated. So yes, it is showerproof, so you can leave it out in the rain to a certain degree. I'm not going to say you want to leave it out in the night, but it should be fine. Also, one very nice feature I like that they have put onto this disc cutter is that they have a little special piece down here, which you can undo with a T27 spanner that comes with the machine. And in there, if I can get it out, he says, is a magnet. So if you're doing a lot of metal cutting or cutting roofing sheets, any particles that go through the filter will get hung up on the magnet, keeping it away from the motor and the rest of the system. That is innovative. Love it. So some positives I can already see of this machine. One being the weight, it's lighter than a standard TS410, but noise, sound, I think is going to be better. Now, not necessarily when you're going to be using it, but in between times. You're not leaving a machine down just ticking over beside you all the time when you're doing lots of short, sharp cuts. Also, you can use it indoors. There's no emissions coming out, so you can use it in a building. Big, big difference. And also, I just think it's going to be a much better, cleaner experience. So I think it's time we turned it on, goggles on, and ran her up. And it has a 4-second brake on it. So when you release the trigger, that blade will stop in 4 seconds. So we have two AP500 batteries and two AP300 batteries. We can see what the power difference is and what the run times are. So let's go and find some tarmac. So first job on the agenda is cutting off some tarmac. Now, we previously scraped this out with a digger, but what I want to do is square up the edges so that when we come to lay the new tarmac butts up nice and straight and clean against the old. So it's going to be a really good test to see how long the batteries last, see how much usage you get out of them, and, well, if it can actually do the job. So let's grab the tool, fire it up, and start cutting. Fire in the hole! Turn it on, that'd help. Right, I am out of one battery and it's cut probably about 8 meters worth of tarmac so far. So we'll put another 500 in and then we'll try the 300. Right, I think it's time for a catch up. Now, we have used 3 batteries completely. So that's 2 500s and 1 300. And I've just put my next 300 in. So they're completely empty. That one's nearly full. Now, I've just measured. We have cut 45 meters of tarmac with that, which when you look at it, it doesn't actually look that much. But to be fair, 45 meters of tarmac, what, about 1.5 inches cut all the way through. I'm quite pleased, I'm quite happy, I'm really surprised. Now, still do state that, to be fair, it's not designed for longer periods of work like this. That's where the TS410 comes into action, whereas this is more designed for what we're going to try with it next, and that is for block and for paving stones and for block pavers. So we're going to go and cut some of that. So today is another day. We went and got all that tarmac and finished first, but now it's time to cut some block pavers and some blocks. And then we're going to go and cut some concrete as well, because I found another little job that we need to do. So let's do 2 cuts on each material, one with an AP500 battery and one with an AP300 battery, and then we'll time it to see how much power difference there is between the 2 batteries. It's a nice clean cut through the 4-inch block and also on the block pavier. Now, there is a definite power increase with the 500 compared to the 300, very noticeable difference. So I think I found the perfect job for it. Now, on the cattle grid here, we have previously concreted the top lip, but we've also got to do the bottom lip up through here. As you can see, the block pavers have gone away. Whoever put that in, well, didn't obviously expect it to last very long. But what I need to do is cut a line out further out here to be able to add in some drains as well, because underneath that cattle grid it just fills with water, there's no drains. So what have we got, 12 foot there of concrete to cut up through. Perfect job for a machine like this, I think. Downtown, foot pushed on the pedal, move to songs we play together, feel like we're on holiday, I got a feeling it's a good day. Right, that is quite impressive, very impressive. 12 feet, and I put there, to be fair, there's probably a couple places where I need to cut it down a little bit further, but I'm quite impressed. Now, that's the same AP500 battery we've used, and it's just flashing green at the bottom there now. So all that one battery, I think, is, and no lack of power, no lack of power at all. So at the beginning of the video, I asked if the TSA300 could perform as well as a TS410, and it can. It's got bags of power, it has got oodles of it. There's no shortage of power going through any of the materials that we have tried. Now, battery runtime is going to be an issue for some, and if you are doing tarmacking jobs like we've done at the beginning, then probably the TS410 is probably going to still be the machine for you. But for those people laying patios, doing smaller jobs, then the TSA300 comes into its own. Now, as I said before, you've got other advantages. You have got the weight, because it's lighter than TS410. You have got the capability to be able to use it indoors without the emissions problems. But you've also got something that I haven't mentioned already, is that you've got less vibration, because you haven't got an engine going around with a piston making everything vibrate and anti-vibration everywhere on your hands and handles. That is also going through to your cut of your material. You are going to have a smoother, cleaner cut, because electric motor, everything's nice and smooth. So cutting down through a block paver or a tile or even a paving slab, then it's going to be a much smoother, cleaner cut. And obviously much nicer for the operator as well, because you haven't got all that vibration going up through your hands. So what I'd like you to do is let us know in the comments below is if you've used a TS410 before, or you have a TS410 or you use one regularly. Let us know if you think that that can do what that can do, and whether this would be a good option for you for those other opportunities where the TS410 just won't quite cut it. So we're Machinery Nation, we bring you product videos about machinery every single week. And if you like this video and you got this far, perhaps you'll also like this one.